This would be number 4 for the common mistakes is ignoring maintenance issues. Kind of going back to what we talked about just even previously on the last mistake is just ignoring issues. Now, this also happens where you have tenants that they notice a problem, but the problem isn't, it could be like dripping of a water faucet or something like that. And this is causing additional problems in the property because this faucet, the leak in that faucet could be under the kitchen sink or under the bathroom sink, or it could be somewhere that water is constantly dripping, causing a problem that will in turn rot out wood or cause other damage in the long term. So ignoring these maintenance issues is a common problem that I see landlords doing because they don't implement inspections. So one of the things that you can do about ignoring maintenance issues, a lot of tenants may not either know there's a problem because sometimes tenants don't look underneath their kitchen sink. They don't look underneath the vanity to be able to see if there's a problem or know what to look for. So these are the things that an on-site inspection by the landlord can point out. So how often do you go out and do an inspection? Well, depending on how much you want to, I would say at least twice a year, if not, pushing it at 4 times a year. Once a quarter versus once every 6 months. It depends upon the profile of the tenant. Typically, you would go back out there and visit the property again at least once. You can kind of get an idea of what the tenant lives like, how well they decorate the property, how well they keep the property, and then that could dictate how quickly or how often you come back to see if there's particular problems. But ignoring maintenance issues is a common thing. So some of the common areas that you see on here, what I already talked about as far as leaks. Another big one is on the outside where when houses are rented, single-family homes, that you have gutters, and the gutters are being filled with leaves, branches from the fall, or whatever, depending on the area that you live in across the country. Those gutters can be clogged, and then that clog leads to water filling up the gutters and then flowing over. But even the problem from that water flowing over and falling into the ground creates these sort of what I call ruts, these little grooves in the ground that the water makes when it falls over. That's how you can tell that it's been doing it for a while. If you look at the front or back of your house and you've got water stains on the concrete, or you've got this big rut in the grass from the water falling on it, that's an easy way to determine that this has been happening for a while. But this is a common mistake, especially when it comes to having foundation leaks, making sure that the water is drained against your house and stuff like that. I know, I kind of got off on a tangent real quick, but that's just an example of ignoring maintenance issues. When that is ignored and that's not handled, it could lead to further issues like foundation leaks, problems, rotting of your sill plates, and things like that near your house. So some of the other things, just the biggest thing on this one is just to do your inspections. Go out there now. As a landlord, you can do your own inspections, but you don't have to. If you have a contractor on your team, your contractor could be your inspector. Okay, you can just pay them a little bit of money to go out there for their time to just do a quick walkthrough inspection, see how they see everything's looking good, make sure that the gutters all look good, the downspouts are going away from the house, that there's no major problems, windows aren't cracked, that everything looks good, there's no damage to the walls. There's a whole checklist that we have on the Veteran Landlord about how to do inspections, what to look for inside of a property. But this is the biggest way to prevent longer term maintenance issues and ignoring them. So worst cases, they might be ignored for a few months, but you should be able to come in there. A few months would be easy enough to get it fixed and repaired without a lot of damage. But if these things go unchecked for a tenant that lived there a year, 2 years, 5 years, and you never knew about it, you could be looking at replacing a lot of damage to this stuff because you didn't check on this. Now, I was talking about single families. Imagine for those people out there who choose like a multifamily building for an asset class to do investments in, what happens if you have a third floor apartment that has a small leak like that, and then that leaks from the third floor into the second floor, and then the second floor walls are damaged because all the water's been draining for years, and then that goes down to the first floor. You can imagine how much damage that is by just not checking on that. So maintenance of apartment buildings like that are even more critical to check, especially on the upper levels, because things from the top roll down. It's called gravity. So